we've got Scott Bauer. He's the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. He's joining us to help us take a look at a couple stocks that are on the move today that caught his eye, and he thinks we should be dialed in as well. Scott, welcome. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon on Midday Movers. It looks like Tesla caught your eye, Scott. This stock has been on a major run, but the downgrades put the brakes on the move up. Is this just a pit stop, or investors going to have to wait a while for the batteries to get recharged?
Well, before I answer that, Ben, are you telling me that I'm like old and gray and withered long term? But I'll take it. It means I've been here for a while.
Durable is a compliment.
Listen, it is a compliment. I appreciate it. Listen, double downgrade, right? If you see a double downgrade on a stock like a Tesla or really any other big cap stock in the marketplace, you typically see a much more drastic drawdown than what we're seeing today. Yeah, Tesla traded down to, I think, what, 472 on its low today. It's made about half of that back from, where it had closed. And you know what? It makes sense, I would say, to take some profits off the table here. Listen, the nexus of this stock price was 420. Everybody was looking for that based on Elon's tweet a while ago, and it almost reached 500. I mean, this gain is just, out of the ordinary, right? Yeah. So it absolutely makes sense to take some profits here. However, if you read into one of the downgrades, and I believe it was Baird of the one of the two, they downgraded them, but they raised their price target from 355 to 525.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a backsided downgrade to me. And if you look at the option volume today, Ben, it is decidedly call over put. It's almost like 1.6 or 1.7 to 1 today.
Yeah, I guess about what you'd expect to see in some ways. But Scott, earlier in the show, I had said that Tesla was down 9%. I meant to say $9. I wanted to correct myself there. They're down right now about 2%. But I'm noticing here as I look at the chart, if they were to close lower today, it looks like they break a 6-day run to the upside, positive for 6 days in a row. You mentioned that they're a bit out of the ordinary. Sometimes when I think of Tesla, I think of, well, you're really betting on Elon Musk, right? And speaking of out of the ordinary, I mean, in many ways, this guy's out of this world. And ultimately, when I think of Tesla, that's what I think ultimately you're talking Elon Musk.
No doubt about it. But you know what? It almost seems over the last 3 months, and obviously coinciding with this big ride up now, he's starting to put some money where his mouth is, right?
Noted.
Up until over the last 3-6 months, it's all been, what are we going to do? What do we hope to do? Now there's a little proof in the pudding here, and I think that's what has caused all of the shorts to get just obliterated here and people to dive into this stock.
Yeah, well, he's been able to back up what he's been promising as of recent, so I can see why investors have been encouraged by that. And Scott, I've been saying I keep seeing more and more of these vehicles on the road every single day. It's just a matter of time till we see one parked in your driveway, is my guess. Scott, talk to me about Coca-Cola higher today after an upgrade.
You know what? This stock, to me, is on a launching pad. And it's hard to say that about a big consumer staple like a Coca-Cola that barely moves. I mean, when this stock gets a 1% intraday move, that's a huge move. We're coming up to some really big resistance here. However, I really think this has the opportunity to break out, make new highs, and probably be one of the leaders of the entire, consumer space here throughout 2020.
All right, if it breaks out here, Scott, above that 55.90 high that we saw, it looks like back in the beginning of September, above 56, what do we look for in terms of follow-through?
I'm looking for another 15 to 20%.
Okay.
So I wouldn't bet against seeing 65 or the high 60s here, maybe even by the end of the first quarter.
All right, gives us something to watch. We'll continue to watch. Keep an eye on this one. One thing I would say about a stock or any product, whether you're talking futures, stocks, options, ETFs, once they get towards that upper extreme of the range, and as is the case here with Coke, they're towards the upper extreme of a range they've been in since July, August. It doesn't stay there very long, and by definition, that's why it's called the upper extreme or the lower extreme. Scott, lastly, one big name reporting after the bell today. What are you going to be looking for? What should we be keeping an eye on in terms of KB Homes? Lennar beat. They're next up here, KBH.
So I think there's some really lofty expectations here. Lennar beat There were great numbers. The stock took off. It was up $3-4 right afterwards, and then came back in. And it's just up, marginally over the last couple days or so. We may get the same reaction in KBH because those expectations are really large. There is some natural resistance in the stock around 37. But when you look at the fundamentals of the home buying sector here, dovish Fed, most likely going to keep rates low for a while. There seems to be a huge demand in that space, especially from millennials. You know what? I think a good report is in the making here. It's just a matter of how the street reacts to it. Is it going to be good enough?
Yeah, really nice double bottom here from a technical standpoint. It looks like they tested the 32 level around the first week of November, retested it the second week of December, held. The breakout here is certainly convincing, and if you take a look headed into today, Scott, it looks like something like 10 of 12 days, the last trading days, that is to the upside. We'll continue to watch this one and the rest of the home builders. Scott, a great breakdown, a few good names we'll continue to watch. We appreciate you joining us and bringing them to our attention. Traders, that's Scott Bauer. He's the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy.